and then it's really too late to say that you are sorry. So keep that in mind, and we are not talking about the life necessity. Things like this are not life necessities. They are toys, they are gadgets, they are equipment. Life necessity for kids, that's time spent with them. That's love, compassion, understanding. That's drinkable water, eatable food, clean air. That's life necessities. Others have shown blood-brain barrier leakage, followed by other studies of the same group showing damage and even cell death in the brain of these rats, and exposure levels that were as short as 1 minute and at a level 5,000 times below. So very weak irradiation for a very short time killed brain cells in rats. And of course, the news in Sweden, kids to be microwaved. Keep them away from these gadgets. The problem though is that when we talk about, in this case, 400 microwatts per telecom systems, you sit now in 400 microwatts per kilogram. In Stockholm it would range between 10 to 600 microwatts per kilogram. Wherever you are, 20 not high. And it wasn't there for like 50 years ago, of course not. So it's very new and it's extremely high compared to the background. Other thermal effects on the key cell for asthma, allergy and other oversensitivities. And the key cell is called the... learned yesterday that this is a tremendous problem here, as it is in most westernized countries throughout the world, namely the explosion allergies and oversensitivities like to food among kids as well as grown-ups. In Sweden, the increase has been to less than 0.5% for the whole population to up to approximately 35%. It's a dramatic explosion of cases. And of course, bearing in mind this kind of studies showing that microwaves from telecom systems such as Wi-Fi, mobile phones, etc., would let these cells react as if they know something similar, of course makes you think, is the explanation not that we clean our houses too much, but that we actually allow this invisible smoke to enter our everyday life? And this is extremely interesting because in people with electrohypersensitivity, they have an enormously increased number of such cells. And also if you subject students to the exposure of ordinary household televisions, they will after 2 hours have a dramatic small dot is one of these mast cells. And it's interesting to see that all the symptoms reported by people with electrohypersensitivity could easily be explained by this single type of cell, the mast cell, and a single type of molecule, namely histamine, which is a central molecule in asthma, allergy, and other oversensitivities. And also Japanese scientists have shown that if you have various forms of eczemas, you should not allow the eczema to talk in the mobile phone or be subjected to Wi-Fi microwaves, because then the eczema gets worse. This is a picture from normal human skin, and these long worms you see here are the peripheral parts of the nerve fibers, and they extend to the very superficial surface. And this is the normal case, but if you look in skin from people that are electrohypersensitive, they have a dramatic reduction both in length as well as number of such nerve fibers. And again, pointing to that something is real. It's hard to find diseases that will show such a dramatic reduction. So this is serious indeed. If I would spend that in the minority report, you would have to stay here for months before I finish. I would lecture to you 24 hours around the clock, but you would have to stay for months before we were through, and I cannot spend. So after